So I survived 100 days plenty of times, 300 days in the jungle and 100 days in the Badlands. But there's one biome that no one has ever done yet, the Stone Shore. One of the hardest biomes I think I've ever done. No mobs spawn here, plant life is rare, and barely any mineshaft spawn. This biome makes the Badlands look easy, and I'm gonna survive 100 days here. I have 3 main goals for this video: get maxed out full netherite armor and tools, defeat the Ender Dragon, and destroy the Wither. Make sure you guys subscribe because I'm gonna be posting way more 100 days videos, and let's hit 5,000 likes. Okay, we are in the Stone Shore. Now the reason why I said this biome is very difficult to survive in is that there is no trees or passive mobs. So basically the only way we're ever gonna get started is if we find a mineshaft. All I have to say is that this biome is pretty much the Badlands on steroids. It is difficult to survive in this. I got really lucky and I ended up finding a mineshaft inside this ravine, so my problem was already solved. And then right next to it I found a ruined nether portal. There wasn't any chest, so I ended up leaving it for now. After that I ended up jumping into the ravine and finally getting some wood. I think the good thing is I didn't really have to look that hard to find this ravine. I ended up grabbing a ton of it because I didn't know if I was gonna find another ravine anytime soon, so I just grabbed as much as I could. I made myself a wooden pickaxe, got some stone, and then I was able to get a stone pick. I guess the good part about the Stone Shore is that there's ores everywhere, so you can see where coal is, you can see where iron is. It's not that far away and it makes things a lot easier for me on the first day. I got the coal so I can go ahead and make some torches and smelt all of the iron, and then I basically did that for the rest of the day. It started getting dark, so I just headed inside the mine shaft and we pretty much was gonna go explore. But first I had to smelt everything, and while everything was smelting I got some cobwebs so we can start working on getting a bed. And when I was doing that I almost died to a baby zombie, bro. I almost got filzed. Luckily the baby zombie ran outside the ravine. I don't even know where he went, but I lucked out so hard. Since my iron finished up, I made myself a full set of iron armor on the first day, and then I made myself a full set of iron tools afterwards. Then I spent the rest of the day exploring the mine shaft, and I ended up finding my first minecart chest. I had some bread, melon seeds, basically everything I needed to survive. And then I got enough string to make my first bed, and then I went to sleep. On day 2 I continued my mining trip and I just got as much stuff as I can, and on my way I ended up finding a dungeon. There was some gunpowder, string, and I found myself a Luck of the C2 book. And then in the second chest I found a god apple and a normal golden apple in the same chest. Like, what is this? I'm just getting way too lucky today. And then I found some diamonds, even though I did have a lot of trouble getting them. And then later I found my second vein of diamonds, which is perfect because this is just enough for tools. I made myself a diamond pick and a diamond sword. On day 3 I made my way out of the cave, and then when I was on the surface I found myself a lake and just started fishing. And I did that for the rest of the day because it was starting to get dark. On days 4 through 6 I headed to the ruined nether portal. All I had to do was adjust it so it can light, and I barely had enough obsidian to make it work, but we finally did it. And bam, we are in. We spawned right next to a warp forest, which is perfect because I definitely needed some wood. I already grabbed a ton of it because I had no idea when I was going to be able to come back. And then I spent the rest of the time just exploring the nether. I wanted to see what my surroundings were. Specifically, I wanted to see if I could find a fortress because that would be insane if we did. I found myself another ruined nether portal and I ended up finding a golden apple and some other stuff. That was it. And then the last thing I found was a bastard remnant. I wanted to go inside, but then I retreated because I didn't want to get too shot by pilgrim brutes, and I feel like I could find something better. And I was right, I ended up finding another one. I quickly ran across and grabbed all the gold. I was not taking chances. And then I finally found another fortress after going back in the opposite direction. Before I went inside, I went ahead and got some food. I cooked it, and then I was on my way. I went ahead and got some blaze rods, and it took me a little bit because I was in a really weird spot, but I ended up leaving and started doing the piglin trade since I was already in the Crimson Forest and it would make perfect sense for me to do it. I already got my first ender pearl trades, and that was pretty much all the gold that I had. I went back to the fortress and then killed some more blazes, and I ended up leaving with 7 blaze rods. I did some last minute piglin trades to see if I can get some more pearls, and I came out with 12 ender pearls. On the end of day 6 we left the nether. On days 7 to 14 I started getting materials for the secret base. The design I was gonna go with was a stone brick design, so I was gonna get a lot of cobblestone. I went ahead and got some coal, and then I smelted all the stone that was in the furnaces. It was around day 9 is when I started actually getting the stuff ready for the build. I got all the stone and I ended up making a stone cutter so I can get stone bricks and stairs way easier. Now the base was gonna be on the side of a mountain because it was gonna be way easier for me to build on, but first I built myself a staircase. I then placed all the stairs, and finally I started digging inside. And I'm not gonna lie, this started looking like my old base, but digging all of this out with an iron pickaxe was just a nightmare. I did not want to do this base again. On day 13, I went to the nether because I was running out of food. I killed some hoglins. I then cooked my food, and then I ended up leaving. And before I left, we made sure to get a crap ton of warped wood because we're going to be using that for a design for the base. On days 15 and 22, I had to do a couple of things. I first needed a ton of coal, and then I needed cobblestone. I needed a lot of this because we're going to be working on the inside of our base pretty much the entire day. And then I started decorating the base, and it started looking way better than I thought. I was going crazy with this. This process was definitely going to take the longest, simply because it was very hard to find seeds, and the fact that I had to dig this entire thing out. I went ahead and got some dirt, and then I placed all the dirt for the farm. And the crazy thing is, I just had enough to finish it. One last thing I did was get some sand so I can make a glass room, and this was just to make the base look a bit cooler. I got home and smelted all the glass, and the rest of day 21 I spent finishing the final touches on the base. And bro, this farm just looks crazy. Like, I honestly believe that this base is better than the Badlands one. And the last thing I had to do was add this glass pane window, and bam, I was done. Did some last second things on the floor, and the farm is now completely done. And after 22 days, we finally have a food source. Jesus, that took way too long. However, I did have to go to the nether because we needed more bone blocks, and I made sure to grab a lot of them so I wouldn't have to go back. And by the end of day 22, I left the nether. On days 23 to 26, I mainly finished the farm. And for right now, I think this is going to be the last layer I'm going to do. Then later, I decided to go mining. I needed a ton of diamonds because I was going to start making diamond armor and then eventually netherite. I spent 2 full days just getting diamonds. This was a very long process. And after all of that mining, I finally was able to make full diamond armor. Now that I had everything that I needed, it was time for me to go to the stronghold. I got my blaze powder from before and got my ender pearls and made 12 Eye of Ender. On day 27, we started going to the stronghold. And don't worry, I'm not going to defeat the dragon. I'm only really going there for their bookshelf. I found it and started digging straight down, and I landed right inside. While I was exploring, I found a chest and I got some apples, iron, and a chest plate, which was perfect because I was going to need apples for golden apples so I can cure some villagers. After searching what seemed like forever, we finally found the library. I found a knockback 2 efficiency 3 book, and the next chest didn't really have much in it. And then I spent the rest of day 27 just mining bookshelves. We needed everything out of this. This actually took way longer than I thought. On day 28, I made my way home, and on my way home, I found this pack of sugarcane, which is very hard to find in a world like this. Thank God I was able to find this. And towards the end of day 28, I made it back to the base. And after all of this time, I finally made the enchanting table. On days 29 to 30, I built the enchanting room. I was gonna try and match it with the other rooms, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. But so far, this is what the space looked like. I then went back to Nether to go ahead and get some wood. On day 30, I started completing the interior of the library. You guys know I'm a terrible builder, so this might take me a long time to figure out, but I'm doing my best. Filled up the walls with stone brick, and then finally I added the custom flooring. I made sure to add some decoration too. On days 31 to 32, I went mining so I can get some lapis, and on days 33 to 36, I got home and did my first enchant. I did my pickaxe and I got silk touch and unbreaking 3, and then I got myself a prop 4 chest plate. I then went ahead and did some farming, and then got myself a ton of wheat. And then the rest of the time, I just went to the nether, got some quartz, and got a lot of XP. I didn't do this for too long though because I wanted to get enough to just enchant, but I had enough, so I went back to the base. The first thing I enchanted was my diamond pick, and I got unbreaking 3 and efficiency 4, and then the last thing I did was my sword. The enchants wasn't good, but it was good enough for me. I then went back to the nether to go ahead and test the pickaxe, and my god, it was so much faster. This was gonna make quartz mining so much easier. I then left the nether after a full day inside. I spent days 37 to 42 doing the same exact thing. I got myself another silk touch pick, another efficiency 4, and I tried doing my axe and it didn't really go too well. I did my boots and that wasn't good. I did another diamond sword, and then the last thing I did was my leggings, and that wasn't good either. I guess the good part out of all of this is that I now have a sharpness 4 sword, so we're making progress. And in the meantime, I also did my pick, so now I have an efficiency 5. I then spent the rest of the time just quartz mining in another. I wanted to at least get to level 40 by the time I leave, and this time let's hope I get good enchants. Jesus, y'all got me messed up. I got back to the base and I started enchanting again, and the first thing I did was my shovel. I then did my bow, I did my diamond leggings, I did my axe again, I then started my helmet, and then finished my boots. And before I went to bed, I did some last minute farming. Days 43 to 47, I went on a mining trip. I don't really need to say too much, but I basically only needed diamonds from this, mainly so I can repair all my gear right before I turn it into netherite. After mining for 3 days, we got everything we needed, and then I made my way to the surface. Days 48 to 54, I just wanted to get most of my gear done, but first I had to smelt everything from my mining trip. I went ahead and did some enchanting, and the first thing I did was a pick. I did another one just in case, and I was mainly going for fortune 3, but I just wanted to at least get fortune on one of my picks, so I did not care. I disenchanted one of the picks just to see if I can get something better, and I basically got the same pick, except it has efficiency on it. And then for the next couple of days, I went quartz mining. I was traveling in the nether for so long that I actually got an advancement for it. And after I hit level 46, I left the nether. I spent the rest of day 50 basically enchanting. The first thing I did was my bow, and then I made my new set of gear, just so I can just merge the pieces together. I first got an Unbreaking 3 chest plate, I did another pick, completely finished my boots, then I did my helmet, and then I got another trash pair of leggings. And now I was finally able to just merge most of my gear together. It took over 50 days, but we are finally making progress. The only thing we need left is prod 4 pants. And one last thing, I'm just gonna repair my pick. You already know I had to do some farming real quick because we're gonna be going back to the nether. And on days 51 to 54, I went back to the nether to do some more quartz mining. I swear I'm doing this way too much. Hopefully this ends up being the last time I'm down here. And once again, I ended up leaving at around level 45. As soon as I got back, I disenchanted some of my tools. And right after I did that, I got another fortune 2 pick, which is just perfect. I did another bow. I then got a looting 3 sword. I got a knockback 2 and fire aspect sword as well. I got myself a god bow too. And I got another pair of bad leggings. And after 50 days, we finally completed our fortune 3 pick. And the bow was basically almost done. All I had to do was get a couple of more enchants and we were set. Days 55 to 57, I went on a mining trip. I was only really down here to get my levels up, but I also needed some diamonds, so yup, typical me doing 2 things at once. I swear, mining diamonds will never not be satisfying. I ended up heading back to the base. On day 57, I added flame to my bow, and that means the only enchant I need left is power 5. Went ahead and did some farming, and I started preparing to go to the nether. And on day 58 to 60, I went on another quartz mining trip. I'm not gonna keep you guys here forever, just know I got to level 41. It was time for me to leave, and it was day 60 by the time I got back. As soon as I got back, I wanted to enchant. I got myself another sharpness 4 sword, which means I finally have a sharpness 5 on the way. I got another power 4 bow that we could use to make our power 5, and finally we got protection 4 leggings. Jesus, that took way too long. I went ahead and completed my bow, and I got sharpness 5 on my diamond sword. On days 61 to 64, I had to go to the nether to get a couple of things. The first thing I needed was ender pearl so I can make some more ender eyes, and this was so I had enough ender eyes for the portal because we are going to be going to the end soon. I then went to the fortress to get some blaze rods because we're going to be working on a brand new brewing room and I need a lot of brewing stands. I had some fire res potions, so this was really freaking easy. And then in the meantime, I went ahead and did some quartz mining, and this was just so I can have extra levels to fix my armor with. And then later I somehow managed to raid our first bastion. I don't know how I was able to do this because my gear wasn't even finished yet, but there was a lot of loot in the chest. We got magma cream, food, string, crossbows, and I got a soul speed 1 book, and I made sure to get the gold blocks as well. And before I forget, I'm gonna go ahead and get some bone block because when I get back, I'm gonna be doing a lot of farming. And at the end of day 63, I left the nether, and today is the day we're gonna be finishing our god sword. This is it. I merged my 2 sharpness 4s together and then combined my looting sword, and that's it. The god sword is complete. Now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting netherite gear. So on days 65 to 66, I went on a mission. I had to find a mine shop because I needed a ton of string so I could make wool so I can make beds. And I swear to you, I was in this mine shaft for like a whole day. On day 66, I got enough string and made my way home. I made all the wool I need, fixed my efficiency 5, and made myself a ton of beds. And now we're going to be spending the next 2 days ancient debris mining. And I even found some while I was digging the tunnel for the beds. It took a couple of explosions, but I ended up getting my first ancient debris. And then I remembered that I had to do this at least like 20 more times. But I ran out of beds midway, so I just ended up mining normally until I had enough, which is the reason why it took so long to begin with. But by the time I was done, we had 25 ancient debris. I returned back to the base and we are smelting everything. I got all of the netherite scraps from the furnaces, and I made myself 6 netherite ingots. And before I turned my gear into netherite, I wanted to completely fix my current gear just to make things easier. And now it was time for me to turn everything into netherite. Time to do the last piece and we are done. And that's it, we got the advancement. Time for me to do my one and only god sword, and now to do my pickaxe. I then remembered that I had to go to the nether because I needed nether wart and I needed blaze rods. I didn't really need too much because I was gonna make a farm at some point, and I needed some for potions. And now all I need is some blaze rods. Man, I low-key hate this sword sometimes because I keep knocking the blazes so far. But after this, I was pretty much done. I made my way out of the nether and made my way home at the end of day 68. On days 69 to 70, I started working on the brewing room. I didn't really have a design, so I just did what looked good. I started filling everything up, and I started placing all of the brewing stands, and I added some bookshelves for some decoration. And this is what it looked like when it was done. I think I did a pretty good job, not gonna lie. So days 71 to 76 was literally just me doing a bunch of errands. I first had to go get a bunch of sand for glass bottles. I then went on on a quick trip to the nether to go ahead and get some mushrooms. And if you haven't figured it out already, I was getting all these supplies because I was going to be making fermented spider eyes, and I could use that to make weakness potions. I came back to the base, and luckily I already had most of the ingredients for this. I went ahead and made my bottles, and I started preparing my brewing stands. Gonna go ahead and charge it up, and we are on our way. I'm pretty much doing all this because I need to cure 2 villagers because I want to start getting mending books, and I'm gonna be needing a Fletcher villager for emeralds, and I'm gonna be needing a librarian. Time to drop in the redstone, and now time to drop in the gunpowder. And now we got all the potions, and we got the advancement. All I had to do was just to look for a zombie villager, but I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. I didn't find anything, and then I waited another night, and I eventually did find one. I lured him up the stairwell, and I started curing the villager. Remember, I had to do this another time because I was going to be needing a librarian as well, and I moved him into the crafting room because I thought it would be a lot easier for when I have him switch jobs. And after a full day, he was finally recovered, and before I did anything, I made sure I got a really good trade. And then on day 73, I spent the whole time getting wood just so I can get a bunch of emeralds. I got back to the base and made a bunch of sticks, and then I spent all my sticks on emeralds. I didn't really need that many because I was going to be adding mending on my armor first and then my tools, but I got like 9 emeralds total. But one last thing before it turned night, I made myself a lectern, and on the night of day 73, I found another zombie villager, and I basically did the same thing as last time, and this was going to be our mending librarian. And by day 74, he was completely healed up. I think the hardest part about getting the mending books is changing the villager so many different times. It's not even funny. I did this for the entire day. I finally got the mending trade at day 75, and man, I bought all them books. And after 80 days, we got mending on all of our gear, and the only thing I really had to do was get it on my tools, which is exactly what I spent the next 4 days doing. I honestly did not want to keep doing this the whole time, which is why I actually spent this time exploring as well. And also I spent this time period raiding this bastion I found like 50 or so days ago, and you know, I had to finish what I started, and like usual, I keep getting clapped in the butt by these piglin brutes, bro. Like, I'm just trying to get the gold, man. Anyways, I made my way down, destroyed all the piglin brutes, and I started looting the chests. There was some ancient debris, gold, swords, overall some pretty good loot, and same with the other chests. And then I mined all the gold, and I ended up leaving afterwards because there was nothing else really good in there. The second big loot chest just had the same things the other chest did, and the final chest had pig step in it, which is kind of funny because this is literally one of my first bastion raids. Then I left and started quartz mining again, and I basically kept going until I hit level 39, and once I did, I left the nether. On day 79, it was time to add mending to the rest of my gear. I first did my god sword, and man, the enchant on this is ridiculous. I then did my pickaxe, and then finally I wanted to fix my older pickaxe and turn it into netherite. The last thing I needed before I went ahead and defeat the dragon is I need some phantom membranes, and I haven't slept in a couple days, so I think it should be fine. And literally as I said that, a bunch of them just spawned on me, and I got a ton of them. It's now day 82, and it's time to brew all the potions I need for the dragon fight. I needed fire res potions, slow falling potions, and strength potions. And after a couple of minutes, all the potions I needed are complete. And already, let me go ahead and clap this dragon now. On day 83, I made my way to the stronghold. I brought some extra stuff with me like mending books, anvils, because we're going to be going to this end city right away, and I want the elytra with mending on it as soon as I get there. I made my way down to the portal room, and then I started filling up the portal. Alright, let's do this! So this is the first time I spawned outside of the end island, which is really weird for me, but it wasn't really too different. First thing I had to do was take out these crystals, and the next one, and the next one. So far this battle wasn't even going too bad. I did run into a little bit of problems with the ender dragon at first, but now it's just getting way too easy. Take it from me. Now the only thing left to do is kill this dragon since the crystals are gone. Gonna keep shooting at it until it perches. Bro, I am just going to town on this fight, man. I'm just destroying this dragon. Come on, almost there. Time for me to do this final blow, and we finally defeated the ender dragon. Woo, thank God we're done. I ran and got all the XP, and I also got the dragon egg. I still had to do one more thing in the end, and that was to get the elytra, which is what I spent the entire day of 84 doing. I swear, this is the one thing I hate about the end baron. The end cities just spawn way too far. It's honestly ridiculous. The good thing is we're not going to be in here for that long, because the first end city I find already has the ship, so we are pretty much done. Time to pillar my way up, bridge my way over, and I'm now at the city at the end of the game. The first thing I got was the dragon head. I killed off the shulker blocking the elytra, and after 84 days we finally got it. I also started taking stuff from the chest at the same time. This chest wasn't good though. And finally, the moment you all been waiting for is that I'm now adding mending to my elytra. I then explored the other parts of the end city, and so far literally nothing good. I ended up leaving because there was just nothing good except for that elytra. And to make things easier, there was a gateway nearby. I made it back, and I finally left the end. Day 85, I arrived in the overworld, and and I didn't have my bed set, so I had to run back to the base. No big deal, just some time wasted. I spent the rest of the day maxing out my tools. I really wanted to finish this because it was getting to the point where I already had all the stuff done. I just needed this done. But by this point I finished my shovel, axe, and also my hoe. Days 86 to 88 I went ahead and went to the fortress, and I wanted to get enough wither skulls so I can defeat the wither. I got my first skull, got my second, and finally the last one. Now the only thing I really had to do was go get some soul sand and brew all the potions. Got some of that soul sand, and then I left the nether. For the wither fight I didn't really need that many potions, just enough so I can destroy it in less than a minute. Made me some regen potions, and that was pretty much it. I started digging my way down, and I started digging a pathway for the wither to spawn. Let me just go ahead and spawn it, and I kid you not, I bet we're gonna kill this thing in less than 50 seconds. So for the first round I just started shooting at it, wasn't gonna risk going up to it, and since I had power 5, each shot I was doing like an 8 of his health, so I was just going crazy on this man. Bro had no chance. And for this next round I just started swinging at it, and by this point it was pretty much done. This fight was just not gonna be a challenge, and that was it. I pretty much destroyed the wither. I got the nether star and I left the underground, and on day 90 we finally made the legendary beacon, and I finished my overkill diamond hoe. And then I made a really fast trip to the nether because I needed to go get some XP, and this was just to finish a couple things on the rest of my tools. And on day 91 I went on an ancient debris trip, and this was to turn everything I had into netherite. I honestly thought this was gonna take a while, but I guess I was wrong, and by the time I was done I had almost 20 pieces of ancient debris, and then I left the nether. I went back to the base and put everything I had in the furnace, got my netherite scraps, I made a decent bit of netherite, I made a netherite shovel, made a netherite axe, I made a netherite hoe, and I finally made the netherite silk touch. Which means I finally got the serious dedication advancement. Jesus. Before I do anything though, I want to buy a bunch of mending books so we can just add it on all of our tools, and I did my silk touch and my hoe before the anvil broke. Day 93 to 95 I didn't really have much to do, so I basically spent the rest of this time just getting a bunch of materials because we're going to be working on the outside of our base, specifically the staircase, because that looks ugly as hell. I didn't really know what to do at first, so I just remodeled the stairs, and instead I used slabs, and this time I made it out of the wood instead of the stone brick because it looked way better. And then I decorated the entrance of the base, and I wanted to have this man cave look because I kind of liked it better when there's actually placed blocks in front of it instead of just stone. And on days 96 to 100 I spent designing the inside. The inside looked well polished already, but I wanted to do an extra couple of things because it kind of looked plain, so you know, I had to switch it up. I was just surprised on how easy it was for me to be like, this is good, and now it's this is bad. And see, look, I did it again. The last thing I'm going to be doing is the ceiling. It doesn't even look like a base anymore, it looks like a stronghold. And then lastly I want to finish the storage room. I didn't think it was needed, but it had to be done at some point. I swear I think I did the same thing in my juggle 100 days videos too. I got all the chests, and I basically finished the entire storage room, and this is what the entire base looks like. This is basically 100 days of hard work, and we finally finished everything. Well, the only thing that we really couldn't finish was the raid, but other than that we pretty much did everything. We went crazy. Anyways, that is gonna be it for today's 100 days series. I'm gonna be working on 400 days in the jungle soon. I just don't know when. I haven't even logged in that world in like 3 months. It's insane. And I'm also gonna be doing a brand new Minecraft hardcore series, and it's not gonna be like anything you guys seen. It's gonna be something completely different, and it's going to be very, very entertaining, so just wait. But I'm going to end it off here, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.